Now, new figures released today by St Patrick's Mental Health Services show that a lack of understanding of mental health problems is still fuelling stigma and preventing people from accessing support. Our reporter, Aisling Riordan, has been looking at some of the findings.
Thanks, Keelin. Yes, 500 people around the country were asked to fill out this survey, and St Patrick's Mental Health Services have described the findings as disturbing. To start off, 41% of those surveyed feel that undergoing treatment for a mental health problem is a sign of personal failure. 22% believe that those suffering from mental health problems are of below average intelligence. When it comes to close friends, 30% of respondents said that they would not willingly accept someone with a mental health problem as a close friend. Now, job-wise, a large amount, 60%, said that they would discriminate against hiring someone with a history of mental illness. And the interesting thing is that many of those who took part in the survey confirmed that they have people in their lives with mental health problems. 37% revealed that a close member of their family has received treatment for emotional or mental health problems, while over half said that close friends have. Finally, a similar amount, 49%, said they've worked with someone who has received treatment. Now, as we mentioned earlier, it's World Suicide Prevention Day. I spoke to one mother from County Wexford who lost her son to suicide.
My son Gerard was 23 years of age. He died 2 years and 9 months ago to suicide. He was a really tall, fine, good-looking chap. Seemed to have the world at his feet, and his death was totally out of the blue, totally unexpected. We really didn't see anything coming.
Any signs of depression?
No signs of depression. He was a very outgoing young man. He had loads of friends. He had a great relationship with his brothers and sisters. He could literally talk to us about anything, and it was really just devastating. We did not expect this. We didn't see it coming. His brothers and sisters didn't see anything wrong with them. So if we had, naturally enough, you'd turn the world to change things, but unfortunately we didn't get the opportunity.
At 23, was he working? Was he in college?
He had been working full-time, and he was out of work for a while, but he had a job lined up that he was going back to work. But his intention was actually to go to Australia the following year. He had plans made. His good friend was going to Australia with him, and she subsequently went. They were friends, best friends for years, and she's in Australia at the minute. So he really did have plans ahead of him.
Why do you think rural areas are so affected?
I think with the economy the way it is, I suppose even driving into Dublin, the life is, the pace of people going to work, life is moving faster. There's a lot of unemployment in rural Ireland, which probably is a big factor, particularly with young men. I mean, any of them that are still in Ireland are under pressure, and anybody else is gone. They've left the country.
Do you think Gerard found it hard to be unemployed?
I think he did. I think every young lad likes to have their own few bob in their pocket. They don't want to be dependent on money from their parents. And then youngsters that are living at home, if they're unemployed, their unemployment is very little, their benefit. So it's a vicious circle really if they're unemployed.
The stigma attached to mental illness, what would you say to people?
I think in 2013 it's time people moved on from that, and definitely there is a stigma there. I have seen myself, I know people avoid us, we have seen that, and really at this stage we feel that that's their loss, not ours, you know. So I would say to people, stand back and think about this, and really and truly, as we discovered ourselves, no door is safe from this.
And what are you doing to keep Gerard's memory alive?
We do a fundraiser. This year is our third one now. It coincides around Gerard's birthday. His birthday is the 3rd of October. We have vintage enthusiasts coming from all over Ireland to take part in this. It proved to be a fantastic event the last 2 years, and we're hoping that this year is going to exceed that. So I would say the 6th of October, all roads lead to Ferns this year.
OK, well, that was Bríd Murphy very bravely speaking about the death of her son, Gerard, by suicide. And I'm joined now by Paul Gilligan from St Patrick's Mental Health Services. That's the organisation who have conducted the study on stigma around mental health that Aisling was discussing earlier on. Paul, thank you very much indeed for coming into us this morning. I mean, it's when you hear an interview like Bríd's, it really brings home the tragedy that is mental health problems in our young in Ireland.
Yes, I mean, suicide is the end of the road for many people who suffer from mental health problems, and it's a tragic end, because we know that mental health difficulties can be successfully treated. The difficulty is that stigma prevents an awful lot of people from seeking help on a timely basis. In some cases, it leads to this type of tragedy. So, you know, stigma is a massive deterrent.
For the individual as well, they almost don't want to stigmatise themselves as diagnosing themselves as having mental health issues. Yeah,
I mean, if you look at those statistics, behind the statistics is an impact on every individual who suffer from mental health difficulties' lives. So if you think people are going to feel you've personally failed if you seek treatment, then you won't seek treatment. If you think you're going to be discriminated against in work, well, then you will not declare to people that you have a mental health problem. So, you know, we first and foremost have to give people permission to talk about their mental health difficulties, but also to seek help. I think that's probably the biggest issue. Most men in particular find it difficult to talk about emotional issues. They find it difficult to seek help. But even where you're dealing with females who can find it easier, they are reluctant to seek help because of the implications of stigma.
And I suppose there's a feeling of weakness, that they would see other people in their lives who are coping with stress, or who apparently are coping with stress, that people would feel that it was a sign of failure in themselves, that they can't deal with their life.
Yeah, I mean, what you've identified is probably, in our view, one of the key issues underpinning stigma, and that is fear of acknowledging our own personal emotional vulnerability. And if you think about it from your own perspective, what you do is you deny that you could be emotionally vulnerable, and therefore you have to sort of see people who declare that they have a mental health problem as being different, because you can't really accept that they're the same as yourself. So that's a big issue. The other issue is, you know, just a lack of information and understanding. There's lots of information around, but it's not accurate information. And then the third piece...
What do you mean by that?
Well, you've lots of debates going on about mental health at the moment, and that causes confusion. For example, people who seek inpatient care, that's a huge step. But alongside that, there's a lot of discussion around the fact that inpatient care isn't needed. But it is needed for many, many people. So we really need to give people accurate information. We need to help them understand about mental health and mental illness. And I think thirdly, we need to give them permission to seek help. One of the biggest obstacles to that is that people very often don't believe that they can get better.
That's, I think, a really key point, is that people don't really believe that psychiatry works. You know, they think it's like dumbing it down rather than actually treating it.
Yeah, I mean, it might sound like a grandiose statement, but if people present on time and if they engage in their own recovery, they will recover. We know that from St Pat's. And so you hear stories, and very tragic stories, but if you look behind them, you'll find that people didn't seek help early enough, that they didn't acknowledge the difficulties they were experiencing. When people do acknowledge that, no matter what the extent of the mental health difficulty is, they will lead and can lead a happy, fulfilled life. But it's really important that they acknowledge that they have a problem and seek help on a timely basis.
OK, well, Paul Gilligan, thank you very much indeed for coming in to us this morning.
Thank you.
Now, anyone wishing to talk to someone about this issue can contact the St Patrick's Mental Health Support Line. That's at a Dublin number 01 249 3333. There are a number of other numbers available if you have, as I say, been affected by this discussion. The Samaritans can be contacted on 1850 60 90 90. The number for Console is 1800 20 18 90. Aware is on 1890 303 302, and Pieta House is contactable on Dublin 601 0000. All of those numbers are on the website too.